What's up? Honorman26 here to give you a dual review of ROH Gateway of Honor and ROH Survival of the Fittest 2011. These two shows came on DVD in the past couple of weeks. I got both of them at the Ring of Honor show in Baltimore. I've watched them both, and both of them are good. One of them was even great. Before I get on the reviews, however, I will be in Philadelphia tomorrow, or by the time most of you watch this today, for the last two wrestling shows at the ECW Arena. CZW An Excellent Adventure and Evolve 10 a tribute to the arena. I'm really looking forward to both, and I will be live tweeting them, so if anyone wants to use it, go for it. But let's get on with the reviews. ROH Gateway of Honor was a good show. This is definitely your definition of a one-match show, however. It was the only match I was truly looking forward to watching, and it delivered greatly. But let's get on with the review. Opener started with Tommaso Ciampa versus Andy Ridge. This match was okay. Nothing much in it, though. Just your basic, Ciampa opener. 2.5 stars, just nothing much. Just, right like Ridge got his work in, and then Ciampa just did his stuff. A typical win for Ciampa, you're not missing anything here, 2.5 stars. Then we get to Briscoe versus TJ Perkins. A good match here. These two had actually really good chemistry. I'm surprised this match actually wasn't higher on the card because, with the other matches on the card, this is probably one that had the best potential to be good outside of the main event. But it still held its own. Kind of surprised with actually who won. But, it could have been a good way. I'm not going to give away the spoiler. But I thought it was a good way to give the other person a win. But whatever. Good match, though. I like the action between these two. Perkins always looks good, so I'll give him that. And so does Briscoe, for that matter. He's probably the stronger of the two Briscoe brothers, even though he had the worst match on this card between the two. He's probably the stronger of the two wrestling-wise, so he always looks good as well. 3 stars. Then we got to Steve Corino and Jimmy Jacobs versus the Bravado brothers. This is a very non-Ring of Honor-esque match. I wouldn't call it Chikara, but, that's kind of where I was thinking. I mean, it was kind of Chikara light in a sense. It had the workings of, if you had more of a comedy-style wrestlers, like a 3.0 in there, working this style match would come off a lot better. It still worked, but because the Bravados are in there and they, you can chastise them very easily. But I definitely liked it for the time it went. 2 3/4 stars, and, it definitely, seeing Corino doing this much, especially here and on the Survival of the Fittest show, would have got me really excited if I had attended either one of those events for Final Battle, where he looked phenomenal. So, 2 3/4 stars there. Then we get to a match I have actually the worst match on the show, and maybe something that I really don't like about Ring of Honor currently. And they actually have a problem with squash matches, and that's a weird problem to have because a guy like Michael Elgin, yes, when he actually got his offense in on Grizzly Redwood, he looked really impressive, and it didn't take much for him to win this match, and I'm giving away the spoiler, but most of you saw this coming anyway. Grizzly Redwood got 75% of the offense in this match. 75. Yes, Michael Elgin hit 2 moves and beat Grizzly, but, that doesn't make you look strong if you, are on the defensive for most of the match. It just didn't leave a good taste in my mouth. I mean, there's still a lot of good action. Grizzly's a good wrestler. Elgin plays really well here, but there's a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth at the end of this match. I just didn't find this interesting, and Elgin's probably one of my favorite wrestlers to watch right now, overall in anything. So, one of his matches leaving me with the bad taste in my mouth is not a good thing. So 2 2.5 stars. Then we got to actually another match left a bad taste in my mouth. Shelton, Bejamin, and Charlie Haas versus Future Shock. Any match that I've seen until this one that Future Shock has had 15 minutes plus with an opponent has been a great match. Every single one. Look at the match versus the Leaders in WXW. Look at the Briscoes match from Atlanta. Look at the 9-minute match they had with the Kings of Wrestling in Atlanta. Look at the stuff they've done with the Young Bucks. Look at, I'm trying to think of more tag teams, but basically every tag team that they've ever faced, and that's a good number of tag teams right there. Every tag team they've ever faced that they've had 15 minutes against or more has been a great match. And this one's 3 1/4 because when Future Shock, who are 2 of the best upcoming wrestlers in the world right now, struggle to have a great match with you with that much time, it shows there's a problem there. I don't know what the hell was going on with Bejamin and Haas here. Maybe they were tired or something. This match just, yes, there's action in it because Future Shock got it to that level, but man, did Haas and Bejamin look bad here. They needed to lose the titles really bad. This match, it was good, but my enjoyment level was not that high. I've never seen a Future Shock match drag this much, or actually at all before this match. And this match dragged a lot thanks to Haas and Bejamin alone. And, you might put this on Future Shock because they didn't mesh, but I wouldn't do that at all because they've proven with people like Haas and Bejamin, the Kings of Wrestling could work a really great style with Haas and Bejamin. And so could Future Shock work a great style with the Kings of Wrestling. I mean, they are the fucking Kings of Wrestling for all you know. But, just together these two teams, I just don't like their chemistry. Two completely different styles. And Future Shock probably could have worked it with this style with a better team. But just not Haas and Bejamin. Then we got to actually a match that left a good taste in my mouth. Mia Yim versus MsChif. Mia Yim looked not fresh, I was about to say. Looked fine here. She always looks good, but especially as a wrestler, she looked really, really impressive here. And then she faced MsChif, who I really want to see more women in Ring of Honor because the women they do bring in, like these two, are all-around good wrestlers. There's a place back for Sarah Del Rey in Ring of Honor. I don't know why you never made her leave, Someone as good as her, especially as a female wrestler, deserves to be in the best independent company, in the United States. You have to watch Chikara or Shimmer to see her now. Yes, I want to go out of my way to see her, but she deserves to be in this company, and I want to see her in this company. So, but definitely a good women's match here. I think it's a little more women's wrestling is a little more. The fans are a little more knowledgeable about it in the Midwest due to Shimmer being out there. And a couple other promotions like that, so 2 3/4 stars. Then we got to a pre-round match, Jay Lethal versus Mark Briscoe. This match really, really was good. Went along really, really well, and just it was kind of short, but it definitely did its job. I was very impressed by Mark Briscoe here, and Jay Lethal actually. He is kind of the anti-TNA guy in a sense. He's come in since coming back from TNA and done greatly. He hasn't lost a step, and maybe that's because of his age coming back from TNA. He only is 26, even though he's a grizzled veteran probably. So, he's been, a veteran for 10 years, and he's only 26. That's pretty good. So, 3 1/4 there. Then we got to a match that I actually was surprised how good it was. When you have a guy like Bennett facing Generico, I guess, Bennett can shine. Generico is probably one of the more consistent Ring of Honor wrestlers in terms of match quality. Goes in there with a guy like Bennett who isn't, and they give a good match. I was very impressed by this. This definitely built well to the TV title match at Final Battle. Good stuff between these two. Brutal Bob did his job really well here. So, yeah, I was very impressed by this 3 1/4. Then we got the reason you're going to buy this DVD, American Wolves versus All Night Express. Their first and probably only ever meeting. I'm going to say this. In terms of building stars, and this has a great effect on why the Survival of the Fittest match on the next review I'll do is such a great match. In terms of building stars, Ring of Honor is probably the best company in North America doing it. This was a phenomenal match and a really, really great match because of Rhett Titus. You know what you expected from Edwards, Richards, and King. Those three, no stranger, to being well known, and especially the American Wolves. Annex hung with them greatly here. King was the best I've ever seen him, and same with Titus. This is the best Rhett Titus match I've ever seen. This is better than the Ladder War. I'm willing to say I wasn't that high on the Ladder War, but this is better than that in my opinion. Or actually any match during that feud between the Briscoes and Annex. This was just phenomenal stuff. I don't want to ruin any of the big spots, but this was just so great. This went long and didn't drag at all. The difference between a Haas and Benjamin match and an American Wolves match. It was really, 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 really great stuff. Overall, the show is good. If you are a big fan of ANX or tag team wrestling, I recommend you get this. 7.25. It's a good show, but not great. Then we move on to Survival of the Fittest 2011. This was a really great show, actually. The main event is definitely another reason why you're going to buy this show, but this is actually, with Survival of the Fittest usually have a kind of a boring tournament until the finals. Not the case this year. I liked how they differed it up a little bit with a tag team match to qualify, and then a very, very interesting 4-way to qualify, and, they kind of throw all the champions in there at a time. I like that match a lot. And then you had the elimination match, which is just phenomenal, and, I'll get to that in a minute, but start off the night with probably with no doubt the weakest match of the night. The Briscoes versus the Bravados. The Bravados are actually on their way to Japan, and then the Briscoes are no stranger to the Ring of Honor main event scene, so, this was booked in that way. It was kind of actually a squash, and, Bravados did their kind of stuff, their usual offense that you usually see out of those two, and then the Briscoes just were, okay, they just ended it right there and then, looking dominant. So it was all right for while it lasted. 2 stars. Then we got to actually a pretty interesting match, which was full of kicks. O'Reilly versus Ridge, which probably was the right way to go here. A pretty interesting match. It was nothing much, but it was still pretty good. O'Reilly let Ridge, kind of shine a little bit. Then O'Reilly just beat him. So that was. I'm giving away spoilers because I really want to go of why this Survival of the Fittest match was so good. But O'Reilly won to probably no one's surprise as well. Just great stuff here. In terms of just building towards the main event. The match was pretty good, but just great stuff in terms of building the main event and just making Ridge look like he deserved to be on the card in some right. So 2 3/4 stars. Then we got to the Survival of the Fittest qualifying match between Eddie Edwards and Mike Bennett. I guess when Bennett gets in there with the best talent in the company, he shines. This is a very, very good match between Edwards and Bennett. I don't know because they're both from Boston. They've worked on Boston Independence before or something like that. But they had good chemistry. I was very, very impressed. I was actually really, really digging this match, and then it ended. So good stuff here, 3.5. Then we get to probably the second most interesting match of the night, or probably the second best match of the night as well. Kenny King versus Adam Cole versus Michael Elgin versus Tommaso Ciampa. You have 4 men who could very easily be in the main event facing each other. And a lot of these guys had very good chemistry against each other. King and Cole had great chemistry. Elgin had great chemistry with everyone, and actually so did Adam Cole. The only really chemistry that I was iffy on was King and Ciampa, but they were fine. I mean, they weren't spectacular together, but they were fine. And just some great stuff here, building, Elgin, who won. I hate to spoil it, but building him towards the main event, he looked really, really fucking good here. And there was a lot of interesting spots because, this is a 4-way and none of them are partners or friends or anything. And they haven't really even touched any of them in any right, so this is really, really good stuff. Then you get to a match that was definitely storyline driven, so therefore there wasn't too much, congruent action in it, and that's why the rating's kind of low. Corino and Generico. The whole thing with the whole Steen storyline was definitely evident in this match. Corino, was trying to prove that he's a man, and then Generico, was proving that he could beat him. There's a regular match, and he doesn't trust Corino, so it's just building on all of that from the storyline last year. And that's all this was, There was nothing much to it. This is the first Generico match in a long, long time that's under 3 stars. So there's that. But, I'm willing to excuse it for a storyline-driven match like this. It was still interesting to watch. I didn't mind it at all. Jacobs was gold on the mic, and so that made it a lot easier. 2 3/4. Then we got to another match that dragged, actually, Strong and Titus. With how good Titus looked on Gateway of Honor, he just looked okay here. I don't know, maybe he just doesn't have that good chemistry with Strong. I guess that might be it, but this match was just okay. 2 3/4 stars, nothing much. Then we got to the Champions Challenge match. Richards and Lethal versus Bejamin and Haas. This was very good. I was actually really impressed with how down I was on Bejamin and Haas going into this event because of Gateway of Honor. They looked pretty good here. I gotta give them their due. They definitely, I guess against 2 guys like Richards and Lethal, they can do well. So I was actually impressed by this. A lot of good tandem offense between Richards and Lethal. So I just enjoyed that. 3.5 stars. Then we get to an amazing, amazing match. Survival of the Fittest elimination match. Outside of 2004, this is the best one ever. And it was close to 2004. So that's how, good this was. And this proves the point of building stars in Ring of Honor. The 2 guys who make it to the end here, you probably know based off the video wires anyway. I'm gonna give it away. If not, just tune out for the next couple seconds. Are Kyle O'Reilly and Michael Elgin. These 2 just busted their ass. They had the last, 15 minutes or maybe a little under to the match by themselves, and they did phenomenal. These 2 are now, I think, based off of this match, big stars for Ring of Honor, especially the guy who won between the 2, which I don't want to give away, but if you've been watching the video wires, and news wires as well. But just such great stuff here. There were a lot of eliminations close to each other, and then when they weren't elimination style, it was just such great stuff. When it wasn't, it's actually really hard for this match not to be great. But when you go above great. It really is really, really good when it's amazing. And this stuff was just phenomenal. Great in-ring wrestling from Ring of Honor here. Loved this match. 4.5 stars. Doesn't make my top 10, but this is still a very, very strong match. No pun intended. I loved it. Great stuff. The show gets an 8.25. It's a great show. I definitely recommend picking it up, if nothing else but for the main event. It's worth going out of your way to see. Such great stuff. All right, I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.